Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started with talking to the
Barista Guild of Europe working group. We'll talk about what the Barista Guild is, what the working group is, what the different roles are, what the future holds, and most importantly, how all of you can be members and get involved. It's a member-driven organization. This event is here not for the people that are sitting up here, it's for all the people sitting out there. This is an event for you, and these are the people that put that on. But they can't do it without you, and they do it for you. And to get started with that, we'd just like to go down the line here, and everybody could give a brief introduction of who they are, what they do, and how they got involved in the working group.
Okay, yes. So I'm Andrew, and I'm the current chair of the working group. And originally, actually got involved from conception when we were first. This was conceived by a guy called Cosimo Libardo, and back in 2012, 13, quite a long time ago. But it was he had this idea that the baristas are not really well represented in the SCA, and it was a big gap because obviously we make up the highest volume of people in the coffee community. So we should have stronger representation in the Specialty Coffee Association, and so therefore a guild is a good way to do that. And so really that was how it was conceived, and then the first camp was held back in Athens 4 years ago, and that was held in order to create an event and something that is tangible that baristas could get involved in. And the two purposes of the camp and the two purposes of the mission of the guild is very much to help build this community of baristas, to give them representation on the SCA, but also to be able to support each other as a community, and then to further professionalize baristas, what the actual profession of a barista is, and to help them develop their careers in coffee. So these are all the things the guild does, and the camp is the sort of tangible event that is put on by the guild. So that's a bit of background on the guild and why we're here. And one of the big changes this year for the working group was to create committees, and committees that allow us to reach out and do more work as a working group. And so sitting on the couches in front of you are the chairs of each of the committees, and so I'll pass you down and pass you over to them. They can talk about what they do in their committee roles.
Okay, I'm Sylvia. I'm membership chair. I came 4 years ago in Athens because I really love the barista community. I am involved in chapter of Romania from last 7 years. And I'm raising my baristas like a mom, you know. I take care of them every time, and I was thinking that I want to be involved in membership because you still don't know, most of you, or maybe few of you, that you are part of the Barista Guild if you are a member of association. So I really love these events because they put us together for the same passion, coffee. So like I said yesterday or days before, coffee without people is nothing. So what I want to do is to have more baristas involved in Barista Guild. I want to send me messages, emails, ask me what you can do for this camp or for this guild, because together we can raise the quality of everything. We can work together, we can be friends, we can share experience, and we love coffee. This is the idea. So that's why I'm here. I was washing dishes in the first barista camp because I believe in community. I really believe in baristas. I believe that you are the future of coffee. So this is my heart words. You know, I'm speaking from my heart. I am here because I believe in you. So I think that together we can do great things. So I think after 4 years that this was the most organized camp that we had, and we can improve. I really love the teams, how they work. I really love the barista, how they have involved. And I hope next year to be more and more together. So you will find me on Facebook. I'm available for whatever question you have, because I'm doing this for 7 years in Romania. And I know that if you want to have people inside of the community, you have to be available. So I will not be upset if you send me 10 times email, the same email, okay? Or you will send me a lot of messages about what we can do and what we can improve, okay?
What's your email?
I'm watching.
Green, hello. All right, sweet. Hello, everyone. You've seen me standing up here this week. My name's Jessie May, and I'm currently the chair of the Communications Committee of the Barista Guild's Working Group. I actually got involved in the Barista Guild on a voluntary basis. So the first camp that I volunteered at was Italy, which was our second camp. And it was at a time in my life as a barista in London where I'd been working for 2 years in the London scene and had always wanted to move abroad, and was able to use coffee as a way to visit another country and be a part of the coffee scene. So from about a year of being in coffee, I realized how much of a ticket and a passport coffee could be to find and meet new people and interact with them in their own coffee cultures. And so it was through a little bit of research, and I'd had a couple of friends from the company I used to work for called Harrison Hall, which Andrew Tolley is one of the founders of. They had gone to the first barista camp and had raved about it. They said it was incredible, the people they'd met, and it was much more than the diploma that they'd received. It was about the people that they had met there. And I thought it was exactly what I was looking for in how I was going to move away. And so I applied to be a volunteer, and I was lucky enough to assist Lauro on the sensory and Patrick on the sensory courses that year. And it got me completely hooked. And ever since then, I really believe that volunteering is one of the most important aspects of the industry and the community that we've built. And I really think that it is really a summation of what you put in is what you receive back. And it's such a pleasure to be a part of the Barista Guild Working Group, because to have the opportunity to meet all of you and see from people like Yanis that these things are happening and the community is being built constantly and there are so many opportunities. Yeah, that's basically why I'm involved. So, yeah.
So you got involved with the working group after being in coffee only a couple of years?
Yeah, so I've been in coffee for 4 years now.
So you don't need to be an all-star to get involved with this group?
No, not at all. It really is. It's. What are you trying to say?
I'm saying it looks like it's a group that's open to everybody.
It's
It's
exactly
important
that.
to keep that in mind. You don't need to have been in the industry 10 years.
No, and the thing is that the way in as well with volunteering, it's just saying that you're curious and you're wanting to meet people and network, and these opportunities are there for you. And one of the things that we really want to say to you guys is that there is so much opportunity for you to get involved and to meet all of these people. And yeah, volunteering really is the key. We're all voluntary members, all members of the working group. The volunteering doesn't stop, and it just continues to broaden your horizons and allows you to meet more people. So if anybody is interested in joining the working group or volunteering in any way, I will stand fully behind it. I couldn't say yes to doing it more. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Davide.
Well, what I can say after Jessie May. I'm Davide, and I'm from Italy, as I told you couple of days ago. I'm in the education committee as I think, upper vice chair in this Barista Guild of Europe. And I'm not only that, I'm also the educational coordinator for Italy. I come from Italy, of course, and other stuff. To me, the most important part is to be involved in the community and try to do something for the others. In very beginning of my career as a barista, there was someone that believed in me in that time, and I have to thank them for what I am now or what I will be in the future. So I think that it's now time to me to give the same help that I received to the others. And that's why probably I'm here and I'm involved in Barista Guild of Europe, because I strongly believe that barista are the future. I was a barista since 6 years ago, and I moved as a training and a trainer, but it was not 15 years ago. It was like just 6. So the world of coffee is really open to everyone that are how to say proud and brave enough to try to do the best they can. And I'm probably the proof. I'm Italian, so we know that Italians sometimes doesn't do better, and sometimes they do. And now this is a movie in this way. And in this case, we have some example of Italians that do very well, and they're involved, me, Laura, and other people, involved in the community to try to give the best to this community. And that's why I'm here, honestly, and open to listen the voice of you, that you are the main part of the community of the Barista Guild. That's Barista Guild of Europe. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. My name is Patrick O'Malley. I come from Arizona. I have almost 30 years in coffee.
30 years old.
I know. She had to remind me. But the point is, so when we got into coffee, well, I got into coffee, there was absolutely zero training. I mean, zero. As a matter of fact, I remember being told by the guy who sold me my first espresso machine in a cafe I was running in Hawaii to never clean the machine.
Gotta season it.
That was the terminology. Season the machine. So after, quite a few years of learning to do things on my own, I got okay at it. And in 2008, I got involved with SEA education and started to work more perfecting or doing a better job at what I was doing. And the reason I'm here is because I want to give back. I want to be able to share what I couldn't get when I was growing in this industry. So for me, it's a big passion to be here. And as they were all saying, that you are all part of the guild. Anybody who's a member is a part of the guild, and not to take advantage of it is a shame. Not to take advantage of the opportunity to learn and grow when it's here. And we have some of the best minds in coffee that can share with you, and they're happy to share with you. And Simon is one of the best brewing teachers I've ever seen in my life, and you got a guy here, and Laro, and Davide, that are willing to give you everything he's learned. How many years?
Me?
Yeah.
In coffee, stop?
Yeah.
Only half your life. Half your lifetime in coffee. 7, 8 years.
Well, if it was half my life, it'd be only 7, so I'm 14. So that's the point. The point is that you're all able to learn from some people who've put in some pretty serious time and effort. And tell your friends to get involved, let them know that they're part of this guild, that just being a member, they should be a member first, but if just being a member gives them this right to have access to some amazing education and amazing experience, and best of all, friendship. One of my passions being involved in the education portion is I'm fighting tooth and nail, as everybody knows, to create or find a way to create a jobs board of sorts, to where any one of you can go on a jobs board and find a place to go. Maybe where you're working at now, you're at a dead end and you can't move, but on the jobs board you could find something in a different position within coffee that could take you to the next level. So that's kind of what my passion is, to try to do my best with Davide and Aga to fight so that you guys can have a jobs board that would be global. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And Patrick is the chair of our committee, education committee.
I'm the back.
Okay, so my name is Aga. I'm from here. As I told you, I'm just a part of educational committee because I wanted to learn from the more experienced guys, and that's what I'm taking from the Barista Guild of Europe. But in my coffee life, I did some mistakes, and I did struggle, and I did learn a lot. And I'm here in the educational committee because I want you to not do that mistakes. So I'm more like here to tell you how to do it, how to achieve something, how to be on the cover of Barista magazine, for example. They just email you, actually. This is quite simple. So if you will need any like career advice or coffee advice or milk advice, or you just want me to make you a cappuccino because you want to put it on your Instagram, it's no problem. I'm here for you, okay?
It was perfect. It really, the one.
I did Patrick O'Malley on a coffee because he wanted to put it on Instagram.
So
I look like a crazy mad scientist, but it looks like me from what everybody said, yeah?
So how specifically can people get involved with the Barista Guild? I mean, you all come from different backgrounds, you have different experiences in coffee. Some of you, Patrick, are not even European, and you can all be a part of it. So how does everybody else get involved?
They elected me. Like somebody in the SCA actually told me that there is a Barista Guild of Europe because I didn't know. And it was Jackie Malone, she's working for SCA, and she was in a Polish competition. And she told me there is an election for Barista Guild of Europe. And because I'm a barista, maybe I would like to be involved. And I just make myself as one of the candidates. And actually, you elected me, so that's why I'm here.
But also now, if you want to get involved, we have, these are the committee chairs, and we have events committee, membership committee, unification committee, communications committee, and
Education.
Education as well, sorry, didn't I miss that? So if you want to get involved in any of those specific pillars, then just speak to these guys, because each committee has, we've got sort of 5 or 6 people in each committee, or space for 5 or 6 people, and so that's the easiest way to get involved in the guild leadership at the moment.
And we expire. We have an expiry date.
And your contact information would be all on the website?
Yeah, so it's all on the website. And the best way to get in contact with us is either directly or via the website. And as just to carry on from Andrew's point about the committees, depending on how you want to focus your energies as volunteers, we have the communications, we have events, we have education, we have unification, and we have membership. And so, did I miss any just then? Fantastic. So there is space, and if you're interested, the way that particular role works, it's an ongoing role throughout the year, working with your chair, so it would be one of us, and then we then speak as a group collectively. So there's the working group, then there is the chair of each committee, and then those committees working separate to each other, which then get updated into the working group. So it's a kind of system like that. That's a very hands-on way of being part of the day-to-day workings of the working group. And typically people who would be involved in the committees now would then be the people who would be considered most like next in line almost, you don't necessarily have to do it this way, for the working group the next time around. We currently are on a 2-year term. It's not fixed, but it's the goal of the year before was a 1-year term, and it was decided as a guild that to really make sure that we can be as productive for you guys as possible, it takes over a year to really see a project through. So we've decided as a group to stay on for a bit longer. So the options really are the committees on the day-to-day, and then also with the events, the volunteering is one of the most hands-on ways in a more concentrated sense. Perhaps as a barista in a full-time position, you might not have the time to be involved in the sort of the calls and communications on this side. But in terms of a few days a year where you come and volunteer and you meet all of the people, volunteering at the events is a fantastic way to get involved as well. Yeah.
And you're going to be doing, it's more than just Barista Camp, right? What else is coming up that the Guild is involved in?
So our next event is a collab. Can I just see a raise of hands if anybody knows what the collab event is? Oh, that's all right. Oh, okay. It's a kind of a 50-50. All right. So you're all at Barista Camp, right? Which is the longest event that we do. We change locations every year, and it's an extended trip of education focused with diplomas at the end and lots of fun and talks. Those are our annual events like that. However, we also do something called CoLab, which happens twice a year. And that is in cities around Europe. It is a 1 or 2, it's a 2-day, typically it's a 2-day event. 1-day event with fringe events, satellite events around the sides. So the last one we had was in Berlin. We've been in Paris, we've been in Antwerp, we've been in Barcelona. And those are a little bit more accessible because we really wanted to make events which were, for those who wanted to specifically focus on education, you know, it's a bit more of an investment of time and money, but also for a shorter event which is a little bit more accessible, easier to get to with planes and such. Those happen twice a year. And our next one is next month. It's going to be in Belfast at the very end of the month. And it's going to be a fantastic event as well. So I really hope that we see some of you guys there. We don't need volunteers, but we'd love to have you to come and hang out with us.
Fantastic. So this is your working group. You're the members of the Barista Guild of Europe. Do you have questions? What else do you need to know? What can you do?
Does anybody have a question?
You have a hand up in the back, or you're holding the door?
I think he's he's holding the door. Would you like to ask a question?
I think you should.
Okay.
What are the goals for the Barista Guild? What do you hope to accomplish besides Barista Camp and collabs, which are great events, but you probably have ideas for where you want the organization to move?
Yeah, absolutely. So Patrick alluded to it before, but one of the reasons that the guild was formed is because if you're a barista and you apply for a job somewhere, you don't really have a way of proving that you have the skills to get employed. So the certification you get from the education programs at SCA is very good, and it's valuable for employers to see that. But actually, for an employer to know that you have a really strong skill set, that you've got experience working behind a bar, that you can serve a certain piece of equipment, that you can taste coffee. These are things that that we need to be supporting baristas to develop that skill set, to have that certification, and to prove that they are able to do the job of a barista. So one of the goals for the guild is to help put a system in place where baristas can actually have that professional certification, which would allow them to walk into a job and for the employer to know that they have the right skills. And that's it's actually quite a big project because there's a lot of administration around it. There's and how we're going to do that is not clear. So any insight from people who've got experience in other guilds or in other industries is always welcome as well. So
Unification?
And I think that one of the most important thing for the year is actually because there was SCA and SCE and SCAA, and they are unified now. Also, the Barista Guild will be unified. And more details now, Jesse.
Yes. So as part of being a part of the chair of the communications committee, Andrew and myself are also committee members of the unification committee, which Tibor runs. I don't know how many of you know Tibor. He is the vice chair, or the past chair, excuse me, for the working group. And we are not yet unified. This is a very important point. So the SCA, as an overall organization, has unified, which means that the SCAA and the SCAE are now working together as of now as a unified group. The option is then being given to us as guilds. The question was raised, would the guilds also like to unify under that? So 2 months ago, Tibor and I went to San Francisco and we met with the American Guild, so the BGE guys. And yeah! Hey, Gabe. So yeah, we met. You weren't there though. It's a pleasure to meet you now. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so we've been meeting up very regularly in the digital spheres, but also in person. And it's a very interesting discussion because it's a very nuanced thing. Like the whole point of the guilds on a continent level, it's the representation of smaller communities, and it's particularly important in Europe because we represent so much varied, nuanced cultures, heritage, community groups, languages. There's so much in it, and so we really don't want to jump too fast into the unification. Not because of being adverse to the idea, but we are thinking that the unification is going to grow larger and larger to become an eventual global thing. So to jump too far in and do a sweeping, yes, we are unifying, I think would be a misstep. So yeah, we are constantly in communication with them, and it's just in the process, I guess.
And now do we have questions? Come on. No? Okay.
One? Okay. Hey, Gabe.
Gabe has a question.
What's been the most rewarding part of being on the BGE?
What's been the most rewarding part of being in the BGE? Would anybody like to answer that one first?
I think for me, the opportunity to get this job board and to try to help create something that can help baristas, that's been rewarding for me. Just having the opportunity to speak, to have a voice.
For me, it's really been meeting everybody here. Every single time, it's an absolute pleasure to get to know people that in our usual day-to-day, we never get the chance to meet. And it's amazing to see that the people that you surround yourself in your local coffee community exist in other pockets. And moments like this for me are a kind of a glance into another world of socially, culturally, and groups. And so, yeah, I can't stop talking about it, really.
Oh, for me, it's I love people, and this energy makes me feel amazing. This is the biggest reward for me. Being here with you and see this friendship and sharing the same passion is the best thing that I can find I find it in my life. I was working in advertising, it was awful, and I realized that coffee is the best thing in my life, after my family.
Well, I have to say that these things don't just happen. You can go all over the world. People drink coffee, people make coffee all over the world, but events like this don't happen all over the world. The only way they do happen is with the work of a lot of volunteers up here, a lot of volunteers behind the scene, and it's all about, ultimately, it's all about you. It's all about community, and it's really, it's my pleasure to be here. I've made a point to try to be to as many of these camps as I can personally. Sarah got to come last year. I was jealous because it's one of the better things I've got to do in my life in coffee. It's really inspiring to me to see how much effort and passion and volunteerism goes into this community, and it's a really great opportunity for everybody, and I hope you all take advantage of it.
We have one question. So we've just got one question here.
I would like to know, are you going to do some even smaller events and collab, like little micro events, like, I don't know, cupping or things like this, and have them posted on Barista Guild?
It's a really good question. And so there's one person missing from the lineup here today, which is Stuart, who's our events manager. However, the man in the blazer at the front here, Bartosz, is stepping in as his representative because Bartosz is on one of the committees. Do you want to say a couple of words about that?
Yeah. Hi guys. So I'm vice chairman of an event committee, and yes, we are planning to do a lot of smaller micro events, but because the community, I mean, we are very, very new, and working group is evolving quite fast. So we are actually looking for the ways how we can build these small events. But because we have collabs twice a year, so it's quite a lot of preparations on that now on the next one. But I think within the next 2 months we're gonna have plan for micro events. I mean, that would be great, to actually have more like informal meetings rather than doing this quite costly actually, in time and money-wise events. So I think within next 2 months we're gonna have plan for doing them.
What I'd also say, and one of the reasons unification is a really good idea is just sharing ideas between the Barista Guild of America, Barista Guild of Europe, and something they do at the BGA is these member-driven events, and so the BGA actually supports you guys if you want to. The BGA doesn't support you guys because you're Europe, but it supports the baristas in the US who are putting on events. So if there is a latte art throwdown, if there's a cupping event, then one of the ways that we can support that is to promote it on our website and to promote it on our social media channels. So if you are putting on an event in your town, then please do let us know, and we can then publicize that, and Jesse's got something to say about that as well.
It's that face. Yeah, so that's something I forgot to mention. We are about to launch a calendar on the Barista Guild of Europe website, and that calendar is going to be added to by people in the Barista Guild of Europe community, which means if you as an individual coffee shop owner or barista or anybody in the coffee industry are looking to do an event in your local area, you can write in a form on our website so that we will be able to advertise it on a calendar on the website, which means anybody who is on that calendar can see the events which are happening all over Europe. They might be traveling to Latvia and want to know what's going on. They might be in Spain and want to know what's going on in Spain. And so that is a tool which we're going to publicize and say to you that is your tool to really create a calendar of events across Europe. We are a resource really for you guys to utilize as best as your ability and as much as you want to. So yeah, that's going to be a really good one that's coming up.
Thank you very much. I have two questions, and the first question is, what are the duties and what is the idea? What are the duties for the group of educational working group? What is the idea? What is your aim? What are your plans? That's the first question. Because if I'm considering, for example, to join it, it would be great to know what are you going to do. And the second question is that you are changing the places of the barista camp yearly to another countries, to different countries, and I would like to know what is the idea behind it, because from my perspective, it's probably to support the local community, but maybe there's something more, and if it's connected with supporting local community, so could you please explain, for example, us, how are you doing it?
The question is very good question, because one of the reasons we're having this is to find out is from you guys, is there things that you would like us to look into? Like I said, one of the things that we're doing is trying to create this jobs board. Another thing we're doing is putting content together for next year's camp. Davide is pushing very diligently to introduce possibility of having pro next year, because we've enough people, I believe, a really good pool over the last 4 years of people who've taken foundation intermediate. So this is something we're trying to research and figure out if it's possible, and hopefully it will be. Even into the year after, we're even discussing, and none of this is set, but we're discussing possibly having AST at camp as well, AST training. So that's really what our group is involved in, is putting content for camps together. So if you have any suggestions, please let us know. Now is the perfect time.
And how do you choose a site for camp?
I'm sorry?
How are sites for the camps chosen?
So we choose camps. Yeah, you're correct in your thought on it being about a local area. So we move around Europe essentially so that it's easy for people to visit. So our last one was in Estonia, and it was we've essentially placed ourselves in different areas around Europe so that it's more accessible to different communities year on year. We always propose different places, and then it eventually comes to a vote by the working group. So we have a few locations, and then we choose from that. But ultimately, it's coming to the baristas is essentially the point. So the first one was in Athens, and then we went to Italy, and then we went to Estonia, and now we are here in Poland. So we move around for that.
It's also, we also look for hotels which are big enough to accommodate 120 or more baristas, and they have to be, it has to be out of peak season so that the rates for the hotels are not too expensive, so that baristas can afford to come. So we sort of factor in cost. I mean, I think the value of the ticket to camp is incredible. I think with the certification, with accommodation, food, and everything else. So, and in order to keep that cost where it is, we need to find venues where the room rates are good.
Don't you think it would be really great to, in some way, support more local, for example, cafes or local roasteries to get involved in the camp? Because, for example, we are quite a long road from Poznań, and maybe it would be really nice to visit cafes over there, like for all the baristas who are from abroad to get time to do this.
Okay, this is a very good suggestion, but as an education committee, you have an exam going for 11 minutes now. So you have to take it. And we can discuss it, I think, a bit later, because like the camp is for the certificates, and we don't want you to miss your opportunity to pass it, okay?
But also collab is about local towns, so yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you all. Thank you. Good luck on your exams. Thanks, panel.